Hey everybody, it's Heather with Camden Strength. I want to do a video for you guys today talking about, basically I took this hiatus from lifting for a while, and honestly from social media for a while, and I kind of want to talk about why that happened. If you were keeping up with me at all on like Instagram and stuff, you know that I was training and I was actually doing really well. My squats were well over 200. At one point, my deadlifts got over 200. My bench was over 100. My presses got over 70, and I was doing really well, and I was really excited about it. My training felt great, and I just was in a great place, and I was having a good time with it. And then last summer, I was training and I was doing some yard work. I'd moved, and in the middle of like moving and stuff, my training got a little less consistent for like 2 weeks. And so I went back in to start. I deloaded just a little bit because I hadn't been in like 2 weeks, and I left it. Well, after I was done, I went out to get some food, and I felt like really, really sick. And it just kind of got worse. And so I felt like I was sick, and I had like constant heartburn and indigestion, and just my chest was really tight, and it didn't feel good. So I stopped a couple days. I waited until I felt a little bit better, and I went and I started lifting again. And every time that I went to lift, it would happen, and I couldn't understand like what was happening. I didn't know why it was happening. I've never had a problem with indigestion, heartburn, acid reflux ever in my life, like not even whenever I was pregnant. I have only, up until all this happened, I'd only ever taken one antacid in my entire life. I can only ever recall having one time where I was like, oh, I have heartburn. Like even whenever I was pregnant, I didn't really have heartburn or indigestion or anything. So I just thought it was kind of weird that all of a sudden I was having like this severe heartburn, indigestion, and acid reflux, to the point that like I was almost throwing up and I couldn't eat. So I wasn't eating hardly anything, and I felt sick 24/7. And at one point I thought like maybe I'm getting a stomach bug, and so I didn't even go into the gym or the shop because I thought maybe I was getting sick, and I realized that's not what was happening. So I started taking Nexium and Zantac. I took 2 Nexiums every day. I was taking 150 I think it's milligrams of Nexium, and it still wasn't really helping. So I stopped lifting, and I was just taking that medication for a while. I finally got back under control, so then I stopped taking it. And over the holidays, it got kind of worse, even without lifting or anything. And I think it was just all the food around the holidays that I was eating, like at Thanksgiving and Christmas and stuff. Like, it really messed me up. So basically I went back and forth, lifting, not lifting, lifting, not lifting, until finally I went and I worked out, or I lifted, and I was doing that. Everything was fine. I went home, and about 2 hours after I lifted, started to feel like really bad, like worse than I had in a while. And I got back up to like 195 to 200 when this had happened. I'd squatted, deadlifted, and I can't remember if I bench pressed or overhead pressed, but I did one of those. And I was like over 200 on my deadlifts when that happened, like 190, 195 to 200 on my squats that day. I was wearing my belt. About 2 hours later, I just felt really, really sick, and I was like, I'm probably gonna throw up. And so I went home. I changed into some comfy like pajamas. I got a bucket, and I just sat on the foot of my bed for about 12 hours. It was miserable. I took Finnegan in hopes that it would make it go away, and it didn't. And I didn't go to sleep that night. Well, I take that back. I might have slept on and off for maybe like an hour all night long, even after I took a Finnegan, which usually any medicine like that like knocks me on my ass. I'm really sensitive to almost any medication because I don't ever take any. Like, I'm somebody that does not like to take any medication at all. I've always been that way. So I didn't touch it. Finally, that morning, my nausea started to subside a little bit, and it was replaced with this feeling of like a golf ball that had got stuck in my throat. And I felt like I was choking. So I decided, like, maybe it's time that I actually go to the doctor. So I made an appointment and got in that day. And they were like, oh, you have GERD. I was like, what? Like, that's something that old people get, right? Like, I don't have GERD. What are you talking about? So they said I have GERD. And I told them, like, I really think there's, like, an underlying cause to this GERD. Like, I don't want to just take antacids for the rest of my life. I feel like there's something that's making that happen. And I told them, I did some research on it, and I really still do feel like I have a hiatal hernia, which it's not for sure. Like, I'm not a doctor, obviously. I still haven't went and got a scope ran. So I still don't know what is the underlying cause of it. All I know is that there's something causing me to have GERD. But he sent me in for an x-ray, right? So I'm like, okay. So I go and I'm going to take this x-ray. And at the time I didn't know, but I know now, they did a normal chest x-ray. I didn't know that at the time that that's what we were doing. So they were like, oh, stand up here. Okay, now you're done. My doctor called me a couple days later and was like, hey, your x-ray looks fine. You just have GERD. Like, there's nothing in there. It's fine. So then I started looking into it again. And for a hiatal hernia to be found through a chest x-ray, you have to do what's called a barium pill chest x-ray, where you swallow this barium pill and like they lay you a certain way and you have to swallow like while they do this, and it's all the specific things that you got to do. So they didn't do that, so I don't know, like I haven't been back to the doctor and told them like, hey, this didn't happen. That's because now I've went to my insurance, because for a while I was just trying to find to get a referral to a GI specialist, because that's what I thought I had to do, because I didn't look into that like I should have probably. So I thought I had to get a referral to go and get this tested and see what was going on, because it could not be the hiatal hernia. It could be something else. Yeah, so I haven't went and got that looked at yet. But since then, like, I still have this feeling of choking quite often in my throat. I burp often after I eat. I get some reflux and indigestion going on. I'm trying really, really hard to just not use my weight belt. I've used it once since I started lifting again, and it was at 175. Felt really heavy the first time. And I felt like I was really tired that day. And it was really, really hard for me to stay tight. And so I was like, you know what? Fuck it. And I actually put on my husband's belt. So one of my friends used mine. Because I was like, I'm not going to use this. If I don't have it, I can't use it. Because it kind of makes it feel like it makes it worse when I wear that. So I gave it to her for a while to use until I found out what was going on. But that was really heavy and I was really tired that day. And so I was like, you know what? We're going to do this. And so I put it on, not as tight as I usually do. Some of it was like a mental thing for me. Like, I know I'm tired when I wear my belt. And some of it was like, I still push into it a little bit. It wasn't near as tight as what I would usually wear it. But, it was on, and I did it, and I probably shouldn't have, but I did, because I feel like if I don't wear it, it does actually make it a little bit better. If it is a hiatal hernia, unfortunately, like, I'll know what the cause of it is, but there isn't anything that I'm really going to do about it, because I talked to a couple, well, I didn't personally, I had a friend of mine talk to a couple of doctors who are also starting strength coaches, and ask them like, hey, he basically sent them the email I sent him talking about what had happened to me, my signs and symptoms, and like just the chain of events that had played out. And they kind of said like, oh shit, that sucks, because GERD is one of the only things on anything like related to GERD with like indigestion, acid reflux and stuff, is one of the only things that whenever you have it, lifting makes it worse. Like, I always tell everybody, lifting makes everything better. And I I still believe that, but this is the one thing that it does not actually make better. It actually does make it worse. And that kind of sucks to know that. And they were like, if she needs somebody to talk to, just send her this way, because it sucks. And they kind of said the same thing, like, I need to actually know what's going on with it. I do need to go and have some tests ran, because they can't say for sure if that's what it is either. So if it is a hiatal hernia, though, they even said that like there's a surgery that you can do for a hiatal hernia. So if you don't know what that is, a hiatal hernia is basically like the top of your stomach where it connects to your esophagus. The stomach at the very top like pushes through your diaphragm and goes up inside of your stomach. So it's like misplaced, pretty much, a piece of your stomach is, and it makes it very easy for your food and everything to come back up, and it just doesn't feel good, and it's really uncomfortable, and you get acid reflux and indigestion, all this nastiness. So there's a surgery they can do where they go in, it's laparoscopic, and they pull it back down, and they sew around the esophagus, like they basically sew the stomach pieces back where they're supposed to be, so they're not supposed to move. However, since I plan on lifting heavy again, they said that it wasn't really worth it because it's probably gonna happen again. So I don't know if I would actually go through the surgery because I plan on lifting heavy. So basically, I'm gonna just try to keep it down with some diet changes that I'm trying to make. Trying really hard. I know I should just stop, but I really love spicy foods, and it's really bad. Like, buffalo chicken's my favorite food in the entire world, and now they're telling me, like, you should probably not eat that anymore. So, I haven't had any in a while. I still put a little bit of, like, Frank's hot sauce on my food sometimes. Like, my eggs. Not all the time, sometimes. I'll put that on my eggs sometimes, which I really shouldn't, but I do. But I don't put as much. But I'm trying to do, like, I already didn't really eat a lot of fried food, but, like, less fried food even then. Caffeine, I tried to cut out, like, I did cut out coffee, caffeinated coffee. I've been drinking some decaf coffee, and just making changes here and there, and I think it's helped. Like, I really do. It's not near as bad as it used to be. Granted, I'm still not over 200 pounds in my squat. I haven't squatted in about a week because of my knee from the CrossFit class. I'm kind of nervous to squat on it because if it was a muscle issue, then I wouldn't be scared to squat on it because I know how to rehab like a muscle tear. But this isn't an issue with the muscle. It's in the joint, and I think it has something to do with the nerve in there. So I haven't squatted in a week, but when I was squatting, I got up to like 175, 180, and it was still okay. And before, I couldn't even get up to that without feeling really, really sick. So my fingers are crossed that this is working. I'm going to keep doing this. Maybe I'm going to go to the doctor. I'm going to see if it gets worse again, because part of me thinks that maybe it needs to be flaring up before I go. I know that might sound silly, but like, I'm nervous that if it's not flared up, that maybe it won't show. I don't know. But I might go to the doctor over that. I should probably go over my knee. I'm just all kinds of fucked up. But we're going to take it one day at a time. We're going to get it done. I'm still going to lift and do what I can. I'm not going to let this get me down. I'm not going to keep this. I'm not going to let this keep me from pushing other people to do what I know is right. Like, I know that you need to be strong. I know that you need to just take it as it comes and just do what you can, right? Like, know the difference in, like, I can't do that and I don't want to do that, right? Because there's a difference. And I sometimes have to remind myself of that as well. And it's okay to fall, you just got to get back up, right? And that's what I'm doing. So, just kind of wanted to update you guys. I know that both of my videos have been long that I've just posted. So, if you watch this all the way through, thank you. I know that, over 10 minutes gets pretty long for a video. But I really appreciate you guys that watch these and keep up with it. So, thanks for watching. That's what happened. Hopefully I'll get this all figured out. I can't wait to start putting out some videos. I'm going to keep your eyes open. There's going to be some like how-to videos on some of the lifts that I teach. And I'm going to be putting out some more content for you guys. So thanks for watching. I hope you guys have a great day and happy lifting.